Well, hello everyone. Welcome to BuzzTV. We are here in the BuzzTV Art Gallery, and I am here with a very special guest. She is a pharmacist. You might have seen her every time you go into Bay Street Pharmacy, and her name is Theresa Tolle. Wonderful to see you.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Do you know, when I realized that on this show called The Time of Your Life, we were going to have the fun time of talking about pharmaceutical products, talking about what drugs and medications do as we get older and how they change. So let's talk, first of all, if you will. How does maybe a prescription that you've had all of your life, how do prescriptions affect you as you're aging?
So it's important, first of all, to take them if your doctor prescribes them for you. And it depends on what the medicine is, but sometimes they can cause, some do have long-term effects that aren't necessarily positive, and doctors have to kind of weigh the side effects versus, they call it the risk versus the benefits. So that's one thing. I mean, sometimes, obviously, many medicines prolong your life because they help take your disease and put it into a, maybe reverse it or put it into a state that's very manageable.
There's no question there's been a lot of lives saved with prescription drugs and so on, but I guess really the question is, as we age, and I've always felt there's so many things in your body that are changing as you age. So when you're on a long-term prescription, in this best time of our lives, we should really be double-checked constantly, shouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where pharmacists can definitely help with that. Certainly, when you're on many medications, there's a chance for more drug interactions. Sometimes if you're seeing multiple physicians, you could have duplications of therapy where one may not know that the other has prescribed something. Actually had that happen to a patient yesterday where she's on 2 different stomach medicines from 2 different doctors.
But that, to me, would you would know that you had to get that thing correlated with if you have 2 different doctors.
Yeah, you would think, but not always. It doesn't always happen. I mean, I don't think the patient realized that she was on 2 different medicines, that that they work the same. Well, that they work the same. I mean, she didn't need to be on both. So they were the same kind of medicine, 2 different names, but 2 different doctors, and the doctors had not coordinated. So that's why the pharmacist is so critical. That's where we can step in and really make a difference.
Well, this is, I think, really leads me into my next discussion, talking about a pharmacist. And incidentally, we are talking with Theresa Tolle Pharmacist at Bay Street Pharmacy. And of course, I love it because when we're talking about BuzzTV and the time of your life right here on BuzzTV, people from all over the world can learn and see what we're doing here. So it's really fun having all of this go out. And so my biggest question to you is, what truly is the role of a pharmacist? I've often thought sometimes people don't even go in, and I've done this. I won't even go and see my doctor. I'll just go into the pharmacist because I've known them all my life and say, okay, what do you think I should take for this? But of course, if it's a prescription, you can't do it, can you?
That's true. So having the benefit of owning an independent pharmacy really gives me the opportunity to have that relationship with our patients. So we really get to know them. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people think of a pharmacist as that person behind the counter, maybe in a chain store that they can't even get to because there's so much merchandise in front of them or they're too busy. So that should never be what the role of the pharmacist is considered, but sometimes it is. What we like to do is, on any new prescription, we're going to check that prescription against their profile and make sure that it's not a duplication, make sure that they're not allergic to it, and make sure that it's not interacting with their other medicines. And if any of those things are happening, then we're going to step in and call the physician. And the other thing we do at our pharmacy is we automatically counsel a patient anytime there's a new prescription or a change. So if we see anything that's different than what we have on the file, we're going to have a pharmacist. I have 2 pharmacists all the time, and we're going to have a pharmacist not ask to counsel, but automatically go out and counsel the patient, even if the patient doesn't ask to counsel.
Yeah, this is fabulous, though, because I think so many of us depend on, and we used to think, your physician just knew everything. But then, of course, as I got a little older, you realize that they really depend on a pharmaceutical rep coming out to explain to them what it is. So that's where they're getting their information about that particular drug. What about interaction, though? When you see individuals, we only have a minute left on this particular segment, we're going to come back and really go in depth, but when you see someone as a pharmacist that, as you mentioned, was taking 2 drugs that could interact differently,
Right.
and why did that happen? Why would a doctor not say, are you on anything?
Well, hopefully the doctor did ask, and maybe the doctor did, but perhaps the doctor forgot to ask or did not look at the sheet the patient filled out.
Or maybe the patient forgot that they were
Exactly, yeah. So the patient may not have filled it out in the waiting room. So.
Well, we're going to take that little break that I was telling you about, and of course come back with my very, very good and smart guest. And of course she happens to be a pharmacist, and I've always said, you know, I think you're really smart because I can get all that information just by going up to that counter and asking the pharmacist about something. But we are talking with Theresa Tolle from Bay Street Pharmacy, so don't go away. This is the time of your life and you want to enjoy it right to the very end. So we will be right back.
One-of-a-kind videos, unique perspectives, original programming, only on BuzzTV Network. Spread the word and tell a friend.
Listen up, America. This is an important medical alert for anyone suffering from back or knee pain. If you or a loved one suffers from back or knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, you can qualify for a pain-relieving back or knee brace at little or no cost to you. Stop living in pain because the brace you need is too costly. Call Listen Up America right now for more details. The call is free and there's no obligation.
Please call 800-299-6799.
Victims of mesothelioma and their loved ones may be entitled to receive a cash reward from over $18 billion in asbestos trust funds now available. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma, call the number on your screen now. Even if a loved one has passed due to mesothelioma, you may still be entitled to a cash reward. Time is limited. Call now.
Please call 800-970-0240.
And we are back indeed with Theresa Tolle of Bay Street Pharmacy, and that, of course, is right up there in Sebastian. I always say it's almost, it's in between Melbourne and Vero Beach.
Yes, absolutely.
Very easy to get to.
I tell them if they drive past us, they're going to go over the bridge and be in Brevard County. So
there you go.
We're right next to Monet Eye Center in Sebastian.
Oh, wonderful. And of course, this is what I love because, of course, being an old Melbourne native and living and growing up in Indialantic and knowing that you come down to Vero Beach and pass right by there, I have seen Bay Street Pharmacy grow from the very, very beginning. And boy, oh boy, now you as the independent pharmacist there, it is your pharmacy there, isn't it, Theresa Tolle?
It is, yeah. It's a second generation store, which is pretty neat. My father-in-law opened a pharmacy in Sebastian and owned this one as well, and I bought it from him. So,
terrific.
So it's been there. It was opened in 1984, so this is our 32nd year. So it's such a blessing.
Is there a training that pharmacists, you know, I always think, how do doctors keep up with everything? But how do pharmacists keep up with everything?
Yeah, absolutely. So even the state law requires that we have continuing education, much like physicians. So we have to do 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years. And in addition, I usually end up doing a lot more than that, going to a lot of professional meetings. I'm very involved professionally. So
well, that's good to know too. But I think when we went out on that last segment, we were talking about interactions and maybe some of the reactions that you get. And in some cases, one drug will react to another drug. But how does one find out? I mean, unless they take blood work and blood tests and everything, how do you know if something's going to be?
Well, there's a lot of literature about drug interactions, so that helps. So, and you kind of asked why a physician might not know. Sometimes the interactions are kind of newly discovered, so we might read about it in our literature, but the physicians haven't seen it. And we had one recently with an antibiotic and a blood pressure medicine that was kind of a newly discovered interaction that we've been calling our physician partners and letting them know about it. But physicians are great at diagnosing and knowing what's going on with the patient. But as far as the detail of medicines, unless they're a specialist in an area, they might have a very specialized focus of knowledge on those medicines. But unless they're a specialist, sometimes they rely on us because
Sure.
all we have studied is the medications. So we really understand that. So we get a lot of calls from the physicians in the community who have questions for us or want us to research something for
Terrific.
them.
Well, I guess that gives us all a lot more confidence in knowing when you're taking that prescription drug. And somehow I've often thought that a prescription drug is a little more potent than a generic drug. So talk to me a little bit about generic drugs versus that regular not over the counter, because
Right.
in some cases when we're talking about prescribed medications.
Right.
What is the difference between a generic and a prescribed
Okay,
well-known drug?
so there's brand name and generic is the equivalent of a brand name. It has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration as the equivalent, and it has to fall within a certain range of where the brand is. So if the brand's tested, the generic has to fall within this narrow range. So sometimes it could be slightly different. The main difference is that it could have different fillers, so the parts of the medicine that are not active could be different. So some people react differently to generic medications because of that. The fillers might be allergic to them. They may have an ingredient in there that makes that medicine not be absorbed quite as the same, but all the generics have gone through an approval process.
Do you know, that also brings me to the discussion about the FDA. Every time, I grew up realizing that if it was not sanctioned by the FDA, don't take it. And yet many of your supplements and various ideas are not, FDA approved.
That's right. Yeah.
So what do you, as a pharmacist, feel about taking some of the supplements that we're all hearing and being bombarded with information about?
Well, there's a lot of groups out there that have like a safety seal for the supplements, or that have gone through like almost an accreditation process as a supplement company. We try at our pharmacy to carry certain brands that we feel have been very well researched. One line of vitamins we carry has no gluten, no starch, no added sugars. And the company's been in business for well over 30 years. So we try to use products that are from companies that we have a lot of trust in, and maybe not the latest Dr. Oz fly-by-night products.
Oh dear, that was a little something. I keep looking at WebMD and all of those different things, and I see Dr. Oz, and I think, oh good, I've seen him on TV, so it's really wonderful. We're going to take this little break now, though, and come back with my very distinguished guest, Theresa Tolle, and she is a pharmacist at Bay Street Pharmacy. We're talking about as you age, this is the time of your life, remember, and being healthy and using those correct and understanding that the pharmacist can really help you. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to also be talking about over-the-counter drugs versus some of the medications that you're taking, because boy, oh boy, when you see something and you see all of the advertisements that go into it, and then of course when you see the advertisements go up, you know that the product is going to go up in cost too. So we'll be talking again when we come back with Theresa Tolle on the time of your life.
Stop dirty, unread newsprint clogging our landfills with waste. Go green. Save a tree. Watch BuzzTV.
Have you or a loved one been prescribed the blood thinner medication Xarelto? Xarelto has been linked to serious injuries, including internal bleeding of the brain or gastrointestinal system, cerebral hemorrhage, and even death. At the law offices of Jacoby & Myers, we've been bringing compassion and experience to our clients for over 40 years. Jacoby & Myers is now taking claims from those injured as a result of taking Xarelto. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-536-6093.
If you or someone you love is suffering from addiction to drugs or alcohol, National Rehab Recovery has an important message for you. Each year, we lose hundreds of thousands of our family members and loved ones to drug and alcohol-induced causes. If you have insurance or the ability to pay for 30 days of treatment, National Rehab Recovery can change your life. Medicare and Medicaid are not accepted at this time. The call and confidential consultation is free.
1-800-577-5446.
And we're back again. Theresa Tolle, pharmacist at Bay Street Pharmacy in Sebastian, right there on US 1. You can't miss it. And if you're all around the country, you can come right on here to Sebastian and find Theresa, because you have a staff there that are really very dynamite. And you say it's a family-owned, independent pharmacy, and you do so much research. And this is what I think we all have to know and feel when we're getting that prescription. We were talking about generics. We were talking, of course, over-the-counter, though. What is the difference between over-the-counter and a drug that maybe has the exact same thing in it? Or does it have the same thing?
Yeah, so that has been something that's probably happened over the last decade, where a lot of prescription medicines have gone over the counter. In many cases, they're the same strength. So Prilosec over the counter is the same as Prilosec behind the counter. Now, the difference is the Prilosec over the counter will say only use for 2 weeks. Don't treat without a physician. So the packaging for over the counter products is labeled as such as it should be self-limiting. You shouldn't be treating yourself without following up with a physician. And that's the whole intent of over-the-counter medicine.
So that gets them off the hook.
Somewhat.
So to speak.
But it's the same. It is the same medicine. So if it's been prescribed to you and you want to take it over the counter and not go see the physician, you could do that. Often, though, the over-the-counter medicines end up costing more than behind-the-counter prescription if you have a prescription for it and you have insurance.
And that's the thing you want to check into. I did the same thing, I think, with Mucinex.
Yes.
When I had that bronchitis, and everybody, I was getting all these wonderful ideas and a whole list of different things. And fortunately, the pharmacist, in which I have so much confidence in pharmacists, just simply said, this is an over-the-counter drug, so you could, and I had it at home, as a matter of fact. And now tell me something. I'm so glad you're here. I just discovered something called, and it was over-the-counter, and I hope I have this, Delsum?
Yes.
For a cough?
Yes.
Fabulous.
Yes.
What is it?
It's the same thing that's in Robitussin DM. Well, it's similar.
Yes. Okay.
It's the ingredient, the DM ingredient that's in Robitussin, but it's a 12-hour release. So that way, when you have the little cough, like I had a couple minutes ago,
I have continued.
when you have that little cough, it helps suppress the cough for 12 hours. So
it's amazing. You get a good night's sleep.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just wonderful.
Yeah,
so you learn all this, and you know what? The greatest thing is, you were mentioning you have a consultation with the patients and with your customers that come in to Bay Street Pharmacy, which
and we
is
always have 2 pharmacists, which is really unusual. Most pharmacies don't have 2 pharmacists, so one could fill the prescription, the other one has time to come talk to you.
And so if you have questions about even the prescription that you have been prescribed, that you will certainly give that information to them. One of the things I did want to talk about, though, is genetic testing.
Okay.
Really, and first of all, what is it?
Okay. So we do something called pharmacogenetic testing, or we also call it DNA testing. And it basically is looking at the way that your medicines are metabolized in your body, the pathways that they leave your body by. One of the descriptions I like to use is the highway. So they have to come in and then they go out on a certain highway, and each one of them might go out on a different one. And everybody's DNA is different, so it's possible that one of my highways might be normal and yours might be called intermediate or slow. So that would mean that medicine in me would go out the way we predicted, and in you might get higher blood levels of it because it would go out slower. So over time it could actually build up in your body.
How do you do the DNA testing?
So we do a swab in our pharmacy and we send it out to a lab. And then I, as pharmacist, will consult with you on the results when they come back. Some insurances are paying. Medicare has been paying. It's gotten a little trickier in the last year or so.
Now, is that because of Obamacare? We won't get political, but
I don't really think so. I'm not quite sure all the reasons why, but we are working with a lab now that says that Medicare will pay for it. So I've begun to do it a little bit more again. But it's just a cheek swab. They're just collecting your DNA. They just need a way to get that. But
and if it's
fascinating.
It's so important, too, because then it makes your prescriptions that you are paying for work for you.
And typically you would need to be on several medicines for it to be important. You know, there's no sense in doing the test unless you have side effects from medicines that aren't explained, or if you're on several medicines that potentially, that interaction we were talking about earlier, like they could be interacting.
Well, we're going to come back. We're going to take a little break, though, and we will come back and really talk a little bit more about, of course, Bay Street Pharmacy, where you are affiliated and you own that pharmacy. It's an independent pharmacy. But I want to talk about the situation with painkillers.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that in just a moment. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Plant your business in the BuzzTV ID garden and watch your buzziness grow. Make a 15-second business video ID. Plant your video ID in BuzzTV programs. Then spread your video ID on social media and watch your buzziness grow on BuzzTV.
Now that health reform is law, you cannot be denied health insurance coverage, but you can pay too much. But at ICANN, we work for you. We shop all the private and government plans available, dozens of plans, to find the plan that best suits you and your family's needs at historically low prices.
As a single mom, I was convinced that we could not afford health insurance until I spoke to the people from ICANN, who told me that I qualified for a special enrollment and a subsidized rate. Now I get so much more for so much less.
Call now and get the ICANN mobile app free. It takes the mystery out of comparison price shopping for prescription medicine, giving you the power to instantly find the pharmacy with the lowest price and save possibly hundreds and hundreds of dollars every single year. So don't wait another minute. Call ICANN, get covered, save money.
Please call 800-345-7585.
What's on your website? Video is now essential to your brand, and BuzzTV can help your business website stand out. BuzzTV is a full-service video production company creating video to highlight what you do best, with service and product news and demos, video for the web, YouTube, Facebook, broadcast TV, and social media sharing. Email buzztvnetwork@gmail.com today. We look forward to hearing from you.
Well, we are back indeed with my very distinguished guest. She is a pharmacist. Her name is Theresa Tolle. She is up there at Bay Street Pharmacy in Sebastian, right here in Florida, right on US 1, family-owned pharmacy. And you say there are 2 pharmacists there consistently.
Yes.
And you consult even if the patient doesn't ask.
That's right.
That's
yes,
good.
we kind of mandate it. Yep.
Well, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Well, I have to tell you, and I will only tell you very briefly, we won't go into it, but I looked at a rundown of all the things that were on my credit card just recently, the year end, and it said Bay Street Pharmacy, and it said Happy Pill, Happy Pill, Happy Pill, Happy Pill, $7.95, $7.95, $10.95. Tell them what a happy pill is.
Okay, I need to clarify that. So a happy pill is, I should have brought one.
I know.
A happy pill is a little squeeze toy that when you squeeze it, it has the laugh of a baby. And I have the sweetest person, her name is Nancy Johnson. She's the laugh lady, and she does promotion for me. So she's the one that started the whole happy pill thing.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, she was using it in her promotions, and we started ordering them. So Nancy is the one that drives people to me to buy happy pills, but we are one of the only places that has them.
And
yes.
they are the cutest things.
Yes.
I got them for my great-grandchildren, as a matter of fact, and I was so excited about them when I got them. And then, of course, to see this year-end thing on my credit card, what in the world was that? You know? And then I remembered that they were called happy pills. And they are absolutely adorable, little fuzzy things. And that laugh is a giggle that you just, everybody should have one.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, come to Bay Street Pharmacy. I'll mail them to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're
adorable.
They are a lot of fun. And people ask me if I get tired of it, and I don't.
Oh, you can't.
I don't.
You
The
can't.
laugh is great.
Oh,
yeah.
when I was trying them, they were just adorable. But it also leads us into this next discussion, because there are happy pills that are a little happier. What about the painkillers that people are using, and then other people? I mean, they seem to be. What is it, oxycodone or something?
Yes.
Which has been prescribed when somebody really has broken their back or something like that. What's going on with pain pills?
Well, fortunately, I hope that we're off the spiral that we were having with the pain pills, where we were having so many people who were seeking them. I think one thing that has happened is the state of Florida put in a database that helps us look and see who's prescribed, what medicines have been prescribed to patients.
Oh.
So we always check that every time we fill a controlled substance like a pain medicine, to make sure that patients aren't going to multiple doctors. But unfortunately, what happened is
it's addictive.
It is, and and also the DEA has regulated some of the other medicines too, like hydrocodone. They're in the same class as oxycodone now, so it's a little harder to get. There's a very legitimate need for pain medicines. There's a lot of people that need them, but unfortunately, there were people who were using them like street drugs and getting a high on them, and
once they get it, it's
buying and selling them, and that's still happening. But it has gotten a little bit better, and it's made all of us as pharmacists have to kind of change the procedures that we have, and our state is sensitive to the fact that there may be legitimate patients that can't get it. So the Board of Pharmacy has been working with all the players to kind of try to soften the rules a little and make sure that legitimate patients still get the meds they need.
So when the government looks at my credit card, they see happy pill, happy pill, happy pill.
Yeah,
they know
it doesn't say RX number, blah, blah, blah. So it's not a prescription, so you're safe.
Startled me.
Yeah, you're not going to show up in our database.
But they were so cute. These are just wonderful things that go on at Bay Street Pharmacy. And I guess really the knowledge that you have, and I think it's so important, as I've always said, if you have a medical question, just go to a pharmacist and find out a little bit more about it and what you're doing there too. But if you were to say, if someone said to you, Theresa Tolle, and they were talking about Bay Street Pharmacy, and they said, Theresa, what makes Bay Street Pharmacy so successful? What would you say?
I would say it's the way we take care of people. Our tagline is, "We're caring people care for you," and I, as the leader, try to make sure my staff understands that, and I feel like they do a really good job of living that out and taking care of people. So. I told you we develop relationships with our patients.
Sure.
We get to know them, and just the level of service. I mean, we have a lot of things that nobody else has. The DNA testing, the genetic testing is one. We do bubble packing for patients that need them in the home and in facilities. That's another thing.
Well, we only have a minute left, and I do want you to come back because I do want to talk about some of the situations that we are having with Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, as you say, and what is covered, what is not covered,
okay, sure.
and why.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that.
Because in some cases, when I'm just waiting for someone to say, no, they have a little fine line down there that says, when you are 77 and older, you're off the list. I want to find out about that because this is the time of your life. And oh boy, it is the time of your life. You want to be healthy, you want to stay healthy regardless of what Obamacare is doing or what, of course, your Medicare, Medicaid is doing for you as well, because you've got Bay Street Pharmacy right up there in Sebastian with Theresa Tolle. Wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
Now I know where to get all my medical advice. Thanks so much.
And your happy pills.
And my happy pills, absolutely. Check them out because they'll giggle. Next time you come on, we'll bring
we'll bring one. Sounds
Hope
good.
you've enjoyed this because it is the time of your life.
Listen up, America. This is an important medical alert for anyone suffering from back or knee pain. If you or a loved one suffers from back or knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, relief is just a phone call away. You can qualify for a pain-relieving back or knee brace at little or no cost to you. Call Listen Up America today and also get free delivery. If you have Medicare, you may immediately qualify to receive your back or knee brace at little or no cost. We'll handle all the paperwork. Work with Medicare and your doctor on your behalf at no charge to you. Stop living in pain because the brace you need is too costly. We also have braces available for shoulders, ankles, and wrists. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost. Call Listen Up America right now for more details. The call is free and there's no obligation.
Please call 800-299-6799.
Have you or a loved one been prescribed the blood thinner medication Xarelto? Xarelto has been linked to serious injuries, including internal bleeding of the brain or gastrointestinal system, cerebral hemorrhage, and even death. At the law offices of Jacoby & Myers, we've been bringing compassion and experience to our clients for over 40 years. Jacoby & Myers is now taking claims from those injured as a result of taking Xarelto. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-536-6093.